Good morning. This is Dr. Porter with another installment of how to not only survive but thrive during COVID-19. In our last session, we used the hand model of the brain to explore what happens to us in our brains when we become emotionally overwhelmed and we flip our lid. Today, we are going to focus on using our breathing to reset our nervous systems. If you remember, last time we talked about our brainstem and how it led through the vagus nerve led through our bodies in two different components that led to all the organs, which was the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. When we become emotionally overwhelmed or we perceive a threat in our environment, automatically we are functioning under a high alert condition. And so a lot of times we will feel anxious or we will just feel completely overwhelmed, and this area of our brain, our higher cortex, will go offline. What we want to do, because we don't really have a whole lot of control over that happening. If you remember, the chemicals just start to pump into our bodies, chemicals like cortisol, chemicals like adrenaline. Those, especially cortisol, that starts to wear away at our bodies, it starts to cause some damage in our systems. So we want to be able to use what we have voluntary control over to counteract that happening. Breathing is a great way to do this. So, ironically, most people think, well, oh, good grief, breathing, I've been doing that my whole life. I know how to do that. And yet, oftentimes, with a lot of the people I work with, I find out they actually don't breathe correctly. In fact, some of them actually breathe a little bit backwards. So, I'm going to start from the basics, which is diaphragmatic breathing. And diaphragmatic breathing, this ball here, I call it a breathing ball. And I'm sure some of you guys know the technical name, but for me it's a breathing ball. And it's a great visual representation of what happens or what we want to be happening in our bellies as we are breathing. So when we're breathing in, we want our bellies to be expanding. As we're breathing out, we want our bellies to be collapsing. So breathing in, expanding, breathing out, contracting. Now, what happens when we're breathing in and our bellies are expanding is we're creating a big space for this muscle that's cut right up here to come down into our bellies. And that's called the diaphragm. So this is oftentimes called diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. And as we're breathing in and our belly is contracting, the muscles going back up into the rib cage, into the thoracic cavity. So breathing in, this muscle's dropping down. Breathing out, the muscles coming back up. So again, let's just do this a few times. We'll breathe in and then breathe out. And as you're breathing in, notice how that is just filling up like a balloon. Like your body it's breathing in air, it's like it's filling up a balloon, and then as you're breathing out, your body it's almost like deflating the balloon. So, if you don't happen to have one of these at home, what you could use is a book. And the book, what you would do is lay flat on a surface, could be your bed, could be on the floor, and you would actually put the book on your belly. And as you are breathing in, the book would rise towards the ceiling, and as you're breathing out, the book would come back towards your spinal column. So your belly's breathing in, and it's expanding, and the book is going up to the ceiling. Breathing out, your belly's contracting, the book is going back towards your spinal column. So that's another way that you can practice belly breathing. Now, I think we talked about this a little bit. The time to practice all these things is when you're not anxious. So literally, when you are trying to reset your nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic, breathing is a great way to do it. If you remember, breathing as you're resetting, you're going into rest and digest. If you're laying on the floor and you're breathing, or you're laying in bed at night and you're breathing and you're practicing these techniques that I'm about to show you, you literally could be resetting your nervous system so that you're ready to fall asleep. If you do this type of breathing before your breakfast, before your lunch, before your dinner, guess what? You're again practicing the technique, but you're also resetting your nervous system into rest and digest. So you're going to be able to digest your food better. Good thing to practice breakfast, lunch, and dinner right before you're going to bed at night. Then what really happens, guys, believe it or not, even though you can't see it, you're also rewiring your brain. Because, and again, I think we mentioned this yesterday, the neurons that wire together or fire together, wire together. So as you are practicing these techniques, you're actually changing how your brain is wired together. And you will start to notice that you won't have such a quick reactive nervous system. So let me show you a couple other techniques that you can use to work on your breathing. So there's what's called the 4x4 breathing. And literally what we're doing is we're breathing, we're using our muscles now. So we're starting to integrate the brain with the body. We're breathing as we're bringing the hand up. We're breathing in for 4. We're suspending the breath for 4. Notice I said suspend. I didn't say hold your breath, because then you're putting a lot of internal pressure into the system. So literally you're just breathing in for 4. You're suspending. Then you're breathing out for 4. Suspending. Breathing in for 4. So as we do this, you may notice too that I usually will use a thing where I'm smelling a flower to breathe in. As I'm breathing out, I'm blowing out candles. So breathing in, smelling the flower, breathing out, blowing out the candles. So here it goes. 4x4 breathing. I'm breathing in, suspending, breathing out, suspending, breathing in, suspending, breathing out, suspending, breathing in, suspending, breathing out, suspending, and we can stop there. So you may have noticed that as I'm doing some of my breathing, my eyes are shut. You have an option. If you're comfortable with your eyes being shut, then it's great to shut them. When I do neurofeedback with my clients, what I try to show them is the minute they close their eyes, their brain waves automatically change. What happens when you close your eyes is you get what's called an alpha burst. Alpha waves in your brain are great for relaxed concentration. So anytime people are meditating or you're actually just sitting and breathing and you shut your eyes, you will go into increased alpha wave, which again, our goal is to reset our nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Closing our eyes and having an alpha burst only contributes to that happening. Last technique I'm going to show you today is called 4-7-8 breathing. And again, it's very much like 4x4, but this time it's 4 for breathing in, 7 for suspending, and then 8 for breathing out. If you notice 4-7-8, 4x4 breathing, if you ever notice that you're feeling a little lightheaded or you're starting to feel dizzy, what's happening is you're actually dumping too much oxygen into your system. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. So literally you start to feel like you're hyperventilating, which is why you notice that we do a ratio of when you're breathing to when you are not breathing or you're actually exhaling. And usually it's about 1 to 2. So if I'm breathing in for 4, I'm blowing out for 8, I'm suspending for 7. Same thing even with the 4x4. I'm breathing in for 4, I'm suspending for 4, I'm blowing out for 4, and then I come back around and literally I have been, I've only inhaled for 4, for a count of 4. So as we are going through this, it's 4-7-8 breathing. Again, I'm going to close my eyes. I will use the hand motions. When I'm using hand motions, you notice I'm going from down to up. I'm going from left to right, and then I'm going from up to down again and right to left. So what I'm doing with my body is I'm literally having it integrate with my brain. I'm going from downstairs brain to upstairs brain, going from left hemisphere to right hemisphere, then I'm going from upstairs to downstairs, and then back from right to left. I'm trying to completely integrate my brain with my body, and my downstairs brain with my upstairs brain, my left to right, and so on. You get the picture. So this technique, 4-7-8 breathing, here we go. And that is 4-7-8 breathing. So today we learned 3 different ways to use your breathing to reset your nervous system. And hopefully, like I said, you'll practice things in times where you're not emotionally overwhelmed, where you're not feeling anxious, where you are not feeling really enraged or upset with anybody. Because remember, it's kind of like, honestly, it's kind of like playing a sport or playing an instrument or practicing anything. The time to get better is when you actually aren't in the process of a game or a recital or in a season for that matter. The time to practice is every day, so that when it comes time to use it, you're ready to go and you're prepared, and you can easily slide right into one of these techniques and immediately start to counteract some of those ramped up feelings that you have. So that's all for today. Until next time, you take care and you be well, and I'll see you soon.